At exactly 3:42 in the morning, somewhere off the coast of Sardinia, the Mediterranean lies dark and still, its surface glistening like black glass. Above the water, a P-8 Poseidon moves silently through the early mist, tracking the Russian shadow tanker Yaz. At first, everything looks routine. Then, without warning, a powerful electronic surge rolls across the Poseidon systems, scattering its sensor picture into chaos. The Yaz is not where it claims to be. On public trackers, the aging tanker appears to be 140 miles away, near Tunisia. In reality, it is holding position directly above a critical undersea data route, a digital lifeline carrying 40% of Europe's internet traffic. And then the situation tightens even further. Out of the haze, a Russian intelligence vessel appears, activating a heavy electronic interference screen that disrupts the USS Carney's radar picture. At the same time, Allied sensors pick up a sharp mechanical sequence from below the seabed line. The launch doors of a hidden Kilo-class submarine are beginning to move. The U.S. Navy now faces a nearly impossible choice. If it acts too aggressively, it risks a major environmental crisis and a legal trap involving what still appears to be a civilian vessel. If it waits too long, Europe's digital backbone could be cut in a single moment. So how does Washington solve this tactical puzzle without pushing the world into a wider crisis? By 4:10 in the morning, the Mediterranean is no longer a silent stretch of water. It has become a live test of Allied coordination at the highest level. While civilian tracking systems are still following the false digital trail of the Yaz near Tunisia, NATO's real-world network is already closing in with remarkable precision. A P-8 Poseidon, NATO's premier maritime surveillance platform, launches from Naval Air Station Sigonella as the Italian Navy's flagship frigate, Virginio Fassan, moves into position for an intercept. This is not just a joint patrol. It is a demonstration of a fully connected military ecosystem. The American aircraft provides high-altitude data fusion, satellite correlation, and wide-area tracking. The Italian frigate becomes the shield on the surface, using its advanced seabed sensor network, a multi-billion-dollar system of underwater listening posts, to identify the Yaz by the unique rhythm of its worn propellers. Inside the Combat Information Center of the Fassan, American and Italian systems merge through Link 16. Every vibration from the tanker's poorly maintained engine is filtered, isolated, and cataloged by fusion algorithms that remove the background noise of the sea. To preserve the element of surprise, the U.S. Navy guides the Italian frigate through a blind spot approach. By studying the refresh pattern of the Yaz's older radar system, the American command network calculates a narrow corridor that remains invisible to the tanker's bridge sensors. It is like a professional security guard slipping into a dark corner of a room, watching a suspicious guest without ever being noticed. Moscow believes it is conducting a quiet probe. In reality, the entire operation is being watched, measured, and analyzed by a unified Allied network. But as the Virginio Fassan closes to within 5 miles of the target, a disturbing new signal rises from the acoustic picture. The U.S. Navy's signal analysts make a chilling discovery. The Yaz is not simply a tanker. It is an acoustic mirror. Hidden beneath the surface, the ship is towing a powerful sonar device that is broadcasting the exact acoustic profile of an American Los Angeles-class submarine. It is a perfect gray zone trap. Moscow is trying to pull the Italian frigate into confusion, making the Allies believe they may be tracking one of their own submarines. The bet is simple: hesitation. If NATO pauses to avoid a mistaken move, the Yaz gets the narrow window it needs to release its undersea payload. Comment 1 to show your support for the U.S. Navy. By 4:30 in the morning, the tactical mind game off the coast of Sardinia enters a far more dangerous phase. For the first time, NATO realizes Moscow is not just improvising. It has brought a professional player to the table. The vessel in the mist is a Russian Yuri Ivanov-class intelligence ship, and it is not relying on simple interference to protect the tanker Yaz. Instead, it activates a system known among Allied operators as the Spectral Mimic, a high-end electronic warfare suite designed not only to overwhelm sensors, but to reshape what they appear to see. This is the cyber mirror effect. The Yuri Ivanov begins capturing Link 16 data bursts moving between the P-8 Poseidon and the USS Carney, then retransmits them with a delay measured in microseconds. Within moments, the American Aegis displays fill with false contacts. The tanker Yaz appears in 3 different locations at the same time on Allied screens. Moscow is not just trying to disrupt the U.S. Navy, it is trying to make the Allies question their own digital reality. While the Yuri Ivanov paints illusions across the sky and sea, the Russian Kilo-class submarine below begins an even more delicate maneuver. This improved 636.3 class submarine, often nicknamed the Black Hole of the Ocean, does not simply hide in a trench. It slides directly into the Yaz's heavy acoustic wake, positioning itself close beneath the tanker's keel. By matching its propeller rhythm to the tanker's rough mechanical noise, the Russian submarine nearly disappears inside the sound of the merchant vessel. To NATO's sensors, there is only one loud, aging ship. The Hunter has become the shadow of the prey. Moscow is counting on restraint. It believes the US Navy will not make a forceful move against a civilian hull, while the real threat remains hidden underneath, preparing to target the Blue Ramen cable at extremely close range. But the US Navy does not follow the Russian script. It rewrites the physics of the theater. While the Yuri Ivanov is busy creating digital mirrors, a $1.2 billion Virginia-class attack submarine, the USS Montana, begins what Allied crews call the subsurface chill. The American submarine does not try to overpower the Russian interference. It audits the ocean itself. The crew is not just listening to sound, it is reading the movement of the water. When the Russian Kilo synchronizes its engines with the tanker, it still creates a microscopic pressure shift, a 0.05% anomaly that the Montana's advanced analysis system flags as unnatural. The USS Montana slides silently beneath the Russian submarine, creating a three-layer stack of steel. The tanker on the surface, the Russian vessel in the middle, and the American Ghost below. Then the captain gives the order for the acoustic hammer. Instead of launching a physical strike, the Montana releases a high-intensity, low-frequency pulse, a 240 decibel active ping that rolls across the Russian submarine's hull like an underwater shockwave. Inside the Kilo, the effect is overwhelming. The vibration moves through the bulkheads, rattling metal, cracking glass, and throwing the crew into instant disorientation. At 300 meters below the surface, it feels less like a sound and more like the ocean itself has turned against them. The Russian captain realizes the nightmare too late. While he was focused on hiding beneath the tanker, an American submarine was already positioned behind him, quietly holding the entire situation under control. By 4:30 in the morning, the tactical poker game off Sardinia enters its most dangerous phase, as Moscow brings its professional dealer to the table. The Yuri Ivanov-class intelligence ship. The vessel activates a cyber mirror attack, capturing NATO's Link 16 data and feeding delayed reflections back into the system. Within moments, the USS Carney's displays are crowded with false contacts and shifting ghost images. While the sky and sea are filled with digital illusions, the Russian Kilo-class submarine below carries out a precision shadow-hugging maneuver, hiding just beneath the Yazi's keel to blur its acoustic signature. Moscow is counting on NATO's caution. It believes the Allies will hesitate near a civilian vessel, while the real threat remains hidden directly underneath. But Uncle Sam does not follow the script. A $1.2 billion Virginia-class submarine, the USS Montana, begins the subsurface chill. Instead of chasing noise, it uses advanced acoustic auditing to read the movement of the water itself. The Montana's systems detect a 0.05% displacement anomaly caused by the Kilo's hull. It is tiny, almost invisible, but it is not natural. The American submarine slides beneath the Russian vessel, creating a three-layer stack of steel. The tanker above, the Russian submarine in the middle, and the American Ghost below. Then the captain orders the acoustic hammer. A 240 decibel active ping rolls through the Russian hull, rattling glass, shaking the compartments, and leaving the crew struggling to stay oriented in the darkness. Moscow thought it had brought a perfect gray zone operation to the Mediterranean. Instead, it discovers that the US Navy has already taken control of the underwater board. By 5:30 in the morning, the theater shifts away from the electronic storms above and into the crushing silence of the seafloor. While Russian commanders on the surface are caught in a digital hall of mirrors, their deep-sea plan reaches its most critical moment. From a hidden moon pool beneath the Yuri Ivanov, Moscow releases its most sensitive piece of hardware, a deep-sea scalpel. This pressurized parasitic device is designed to attach itself to the Blue Ramen fiber optic spine and quietly siphon encrypted NATO data. It is a multi-billion-dollar operation unfolding 200 meters beneath the waves, where the cold darkness was supposed to protect Moscow's shadows. But the gray zone has no blind spots for the American global shield. While the Russians believe they are operating in empty water, the US Navy is already conducting a seabed audit. Using autonomous underwater drones and multi-static sonar, Washington builds a real-time, high-definition, three-dimensional ultrasonic image of the Russian device and feeds it directly to the Italian Navy's elite Komsubin divers. This is the Deep Dive Counter, a masterclass in Allied surgical intervention. The Italian Special Forces deploy from a silent mini-sub, moving like underwater technicians in a place where one mistake can change the entire region's digital future. They are not there to escalate the situation. They are there to perform an electronic extraction. The mission is like open-heart surgery in the middle of a high-stakes robbery. One wrong move, one accidental shift under 200 meters of pressure, and the fiber optic cable could be damaged, cutting 40% of Europe away from its digital lifeline. The Italian divers are working in a place where the margin for error is measured in millimeters, while the stakes reach the level of continental security. As they move toward the Russian device, they do not use traditional lights that could reveal their position to the Yuri Ivanov's hull sensors. Instead, they are guided by the U.S. Navy's digital eyes, a cloud-based data stream that lets them see through silt and darkness using ultrasonic echoes. Moscow believes it has slipped into the West's nervous system. It does not realize that its deep-sea tool is already being carefully taken apart by Allied shadows. The U.S. Navy's advanced analysis system is not simply watching the extraction. It is predicting the device's internal safety mechanisms, guiding the divers step-by-step through their headsets with the exact sequence needed to remove it safely. It is a complete exposure of Russian deep-sea technology. The Kremlin brought a billion-dollar intruder to the table, only to discover that NATO had already changed the locks and placed a camera inside the vault. The deep-sea scalpel has not only failed, it has turned into a valuable source of information for Western intelligence. The board is set, the hunters are losing sight of the game, and the final surface standoff is 100 yards away. By 6 o'clock in the morning, the Mediterranean standoff reaches its peak. The USS Carney carries out a maneuver so bold that it pushes the limits of every standard rule of engagement. The 9,000-ton American destroyer cuts directly across the worn bow of the Yaz at a distance of only 100 yards. The massive movement of water sends a powerful wake rolling across the tanker's path, forcing the Russian crew into a moment of total alarm. But the U.S. Navy does not need to rely on direct force to deliver the message. It lets physics speak. The captain activates the long-range acoustic device. Suddenly, the Russian bridge is filled with a 150-decibel beam of high-frequency sound, overwhelming the crew and leaving them struggling to regain their balance and focus. Then, the American message cuts through the static on the International Guard frequency. These waters are not for ghosts. Turn around now or prepare to be escorted into port for inspection. It is a physical demonstration of complete control. The Allied force does not need to escalate the situation to remind Moscow that, in this arena, there is only one gatekeeper. This engagement is a fictional strategic simulation, a stress test inspired by NATO-style digital twin wargaming concepts. But the lesson behind it reflects the reality of modern naval power. The U.S. Navy does not simply train against targets, it trains against data. The cold precision of its cloud-based architecture is not just a theory. It is the invisible wall that keeps global trade moving while outdated playbooks lose their advantage. By 7 o'clock in the morning, the silent victory is complete. Realizing that every layer of the mission has been exposed, the digital deception, the deep-sea intrusion, and the submarine concealment, the Kremlin orders a full withdrawal. The Yaz recovers its damaged equipment and turns back toward international waters, its ghost fleet disguise stripped away. Moscow came to Sardinia to test the fence. Instead, it discovered that the fence is alive, watching, and already closing the trap. What do you think about the acoustic hammer victory? Was the captain of the Carney right to choose a controlled, non-lethal response, or did Moscow cross a line that demanded a much stronger answer? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us keep bringing you these high-stakes strategic briefings. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Navy Vector so you never miss the next mission. The sensors are hot, the board is set. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next deck. Go Navy!